Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers and Friends, today also we are going to take time for the day's talk. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent with 3 times sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhasse. Katame tayo dhamma pahatabba tisso tanha kama tanha bhava tanha vibhava tanha ti. Dear members and my friends, we are dealing this particular subject, the greed, or the desire, we translated as Tanha, translated as greed in the Western or English language, and this is the single factor or proximate cause for the suffering. So reducing the whole gamut of suffering into one particular aspect is kind of a linear kind of analysis, but when you go in deep, that the desire itself, the greediness itself is having a lot of roots. Here in this topic, it is recognized 3 main roots. And very interesting enough, first, second, kama tanha, bhava tanha appear like the desire, but when it go to the last one, vibhava tanha is utterly hate. So in this analysis, both opposites are put into the same basket. So that is very difficult to understand only by analysis. Only method is let it happen and experience it 1,001 times. So are we patient enough to see it under one's own nose is the question. Do we have enough time? And therefore, we will be repeatedly discussing about it, listening about that, put into practice, and they are one or the other is present. Often for the householders, the kama tanha is the most prominent thing, prevailing thing, the sensuous gratification, sense pleasure. And they are not only recognizing this as the root of suffering, but they are promoting it. So therefore, we have to understand at the beginning how the ignorance is helpful for this tanha to pervade, thrive. So as with the utter ignorance, if someone wishes to increase sensuous desire or gratification and sensuous objects, and there you have to understand. And at the society at large, you can see people are, as a human, as a species, always chasing bear. And we can see even animals chasing bear. And if you take account of your thoughts, just like the little proportion going to deal with it and discuss with it under the light of knowledge, often it is under ignorance. That is the society at large. If you take your own thinking, how many thoughts are to understand the greed, or how many thoughts are in perversion promoting it? So it's actually the external large scale or macro level, you can understand in micro level in your thinking. So when and where you are to observe, the society at large is being represented by my own thinking. Occasionally we have inquiry, we inquire about how the suffering happens and what are the religious masters are telling, and we feel like listening to it, we feel like putting into practice. But majority of time, that is not the case in our psychology. So exactly you can see outside the world, specifically for the last 40 years, this mindfulness and the meditation came into being, and ever it is increasing, but only very little fraction of people are interested in it. Others are, we can't say they do not know, but they never give a second thought. So individually also, even we being declared meditators, how many thoughts are just wandering, daydreaming, fantasizing, past, future, just entertaining this perception on the greed. It happens many facets. So first and foremost, you have to understand, once you gotten rid of this kama tanha, post-temporarily, you are open to a completely new meditative atmosphere, and there are day-to-day normal norms, and the things are not applicable. It is completely different sets of something like gravity, different way, and how much we are efficient in understanding this bhavatanha, the desire for the existence, and perverted way our mind, our consciousness is thinking about, planning, daydreaming, fantasizing about the persistence of the ego or egocentric idea. And when and where it is observed, you get upset. Consciousness gets upset. And how a yogi efficiently can note and be aware, even though I am applying my mind to a verifiable object, which is not permanent, which is always with gaps, mind is skipping off and running off and fantasizing, daydreaming, fabrication, storytelling on concepts. And in our day-to-day speech, writing, this is the part represent who am I. But meanwhile, if you can give a kind of a practice just to see, being that your primary object is so close and it is representing near the nature as it is, that becomes so bored, that becomes so monotonous, that becomes so fearful, that becomes so uncertain, and mind is always roaming on concepts. So changing from this desire or the greediness for the concept and the attention for the reality, is it possible to have that change within a life, before the death? That is called transpersonal psychology, words coined by Westerners. So this is, in neuroscience they call neuroplasticity. If you say no, that means you think your brain is hardwired, you can't change. It's ever on the fantasizing, ever on concepts, ever on storytelling, ever on fabrication, ever on propancha. So this whole world, I would say simply, media, it's utter fabrication. So we have no escape. Even we forest monks, living in the forest, we are not escape. It is such a net happening everywhere. And knowing that, we are better. Knowing that there is a conspiracy to promote storytelling, to promote fantasizing, and our normal untrained mind also happy to have membership in this media. And instead, if someone is going to say not to look at this mass media, he will be kicked off from the society, telling you are no more social, you are no more forward, you are always a barbarian, barbaric, aboriginal, so you don't know. In our constitution, when Nissarana is writing on for the monks, it says, don't look at newspapers which is full of filthy news. Don't go for radio. Don't go for television. So it appears like something negative, antisocial. So at the beginning, one day when Nissarana was discussing with the Dinamamsa, they were the key people. At the beginning, before 60 years before, when they are about to develop this Yogasana Sanstha, that is for the forest monks, the corporation, everyone challenging and threatening these young chaps going to get ordained will hit you people. They cannot live in the forest. They cannot live with only morning meals. They cannot live without money. They cannot live without media. So they will one day hit you because they are already bought up. When they become ordained, so they are accustomed, stereotyped mind. And that argument was very challenging. And when Nissarana mentioned to one of the senior monks at that time became the advisor, if that happened one day, we will adapt ourselves into that, but anyway we are going to go ahead. Then that senior monk was not happy. Thinking you are going to tackle such a high tension voltage, but after 40 years, They were together with us. He told, now these monks are very happy in the forest. They live without money. They live only with morning meals. And they are sure without video and kind of thing. No one hit so far us. So can that kind of a thing be openly declared in the Western world? Or can that kind of a thing be a norm in the developed country? Of course, it can happen in the small scale, but you can't do it such an organization. It cannot happen. So, for the last 40 years, there's a huge confusion, specifically on the meditation and more specifically on the mindfulness. And lucky enough, Western world is going into this mindfulness, and while going, the way the complications happens, how it becomes a psychiatric issue, meditation or medication. It's a big question. What is the line beyond that? You can't meditate, you must be you can meditate, you have to go medication. And so what are the safety area, the meditation can be recommended. So, for the first time when I had such a case, I met that article, meditation or medication. They say the borderline people or schizophrenia don't promote meditation. It will violate. So therefore they mention what are the basic qualifications before meditation, what kind of a personality, what kind of a mental health one should have. Of course, there is no hard and fast rule. And interesting enough, the West is telling us most narcissistic people have the narcissistic kind of tendency, is happy with meditation. They are the people come to the meditation centers mainly. So put that into a joke. One day one venerable from our clan, he went to Venerable Jnanarama and told, but many people meditating, they go mentally upset by it. He says, not that meditation sending people to mental upset people meditate. That is the answer. That's exactly the angles is telling. The narcissistic tendency, people with narcissistic tendency, they attracted to the meditation centers. So imagine such a person can meditate and keep the object in view for a certain extent so that he can or she can suppress kama tanha, and then how that narcissistic tendencies are blocking for that particular person to undergo the transformation of psychology. Is it possible or is it healthy? Can such a person think about an arahant, perfect self? So they argue the becoming an arahant and enlightenment is not the case burning in the West, but just introduce the neuroplasticity, transformation of personality, psychology. Somebody to become nobody, to put into simple English. So they compare it with the Eastern and the Western, that they hardly any such a margin as such, when they go by psychological situations, mental setup. So in the Kama Tanha area, we are making ourselves qualified to go into Bhava Tanha chapter. That means when and where you sit and manage to keep walking meditation in vivid or in sitting, rising and falling or breath in vivid, that means you are fairly sure your mind is ready now to go to Bhava Tanha, because Kama Tanha is little suppressed. The access concentration is what the Venerable Buddha Ghosa prescribed, and beyond access concentration, first jhana up to the 8th jhana, or with basic qualifications of access concentration, one can get exposed into this transformation. When that happens, two methods, as I mentioned, that go through first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana like, and you reduce the perception, one gross perception with little subtle perception. That will replace by still subtle perception. That will replace by still subtle perception. That is what the Buddha very clearly explained. Abhisanya Nirodha, that how to get rid of this sanya case, sanya issue. It's a matter of labeling. It's a matter of perception. The utter suffering starts with the mind, and then ultimately body gets inflicted to suffer. Start with the perception. So you have to first replace the kama sanya, with the materiality, with the breath, with the air element, or something like that. So when and where you manage to keep few consecutive thoughts, moments, or few consecutive in-breath, out-breath cycles, or few consecutive rising and falling, or maybe few consecutive left leg, right leg, that means fairly you can think, now mind is qualified, basically, preliminary, minimum, that it is possible, I can do something in this area. But then onward, your strategies, your tactics and ways and means must be very, very radical. First, either you have to go to the first jhana and fix it, you get absorbed in that particular anapanasati element and the first jhana. There you are still dealing with applying thoughts and the discursive thoughts, and you are just you are on a boat and you have to row. So much of rowing, then only you can cut across the wave. So Pandita Sada used to say, whenever you launch a boat into the sea, the first, second, third waves are very, very damaging. So you have to keep the boat perpendicular to the wave and keep on rowing. And otherwise, if you go parallel to the wave, you will topple. Otherwise, if you are not rowing, you will be pushed into the shore. So therefore, team water is very naughty. Until that, in Sri Lanka, 8-9 people push the boat into the deep water up to the neck level and they come back. Only 2 people get into the boat and they start keep on rowing. So when you go to inside, more to the deep water, the waves are not so damaging and rowing also not much demanded. At the beginning, you have to go prepare. Exactly the way when you sit to keep the object in view with so much of knowledge, so much of prepared, and you have to do. And then once it becomes familiarized, once it becomes seasoned, fairly you can surf even without much of knowledge. Because the sea waves are very, very dramatic and breaking at the thin water. When you go inside, it is not so. But when and where that is happening, you have to be ready for bhavatanha. The kamatanha part is fairly, of course, you are rowing, and nodding and kind happen, but another kind of thing happen, as we discussed for the last few days, different kind of thinking, different fantasizing, different past, future, and everything happen. So don't expect sea not to make waves. Don't expect that I am fishing and I am going to the boat, therefore today sea will be calm and quiet, sea will be enlightened, sea will have no waves. This is the foolishness many yogis have. They think as far as I am going there, today sea must be without waves. It never happen. Who are you to the sea? So you have to expect not to keeping the eye view with the object. But while keeping, you have to have another kind of surveillance to understand this likings and disliking and kind of a storytelling, kind of fabrications happening. And they are not to create kamatanha, but they are to create bhavatanha, the existence, because your existence gets challenged. Because you have to maintain this situation, otherwise again you can fall into the kamatanha. And more you away from the kamatanha, bhavatanha may so much of uncertainty, so much of fearfulness, so much of lack of confidence, so much of lack of reference points. So therefore the first jhana, you some or the other, try to keep with the in-breath and out-breath, maybe with a little bit of noting, and there you can assure 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the first jhana experience. So there you can see the external sense-related things are cut off. You can be just like inside the bulletproof cabin or just like inside the bunker, then be there. Soon you get out, again senses are going to get bombarded with all the seeing, hearing and all the kind of things. So this is all kind of a subtle perception, not like in the access concentration, it's more subtler. So therefore your perception becomes little weaker. So from the first jhana to second jhana, without excess thoughts and the discursive thoughts, vitaka vichara, you can go into the rapture and their perception becomes still weaker. Dutya jhana sukuma satcha sanya. And that will be replaced by third jhana perception, and that will be replaced by the fourth jhana perception. Slowly what happens is, as if you are removing outer layers of the banana trunk, inner layers are very soft. Inner layers are very unexposed, and one after peel off one after the other. Even if you peel off one red onion, that's the thing. More you go there, they become subtle. And that appear like a complete bulb or like a stem. But that can be removed. And remove, you go to very subtle and subtle and subtle. But in the Vipassana way, even at the access level, you can understand fairly the Kama Sanya, or the Kama Tanna is fairly under control, and from this side, another set of armies going into be. And while keeping this also in view with, you have to look into this. If you are well versed in the theory, you feel it like a challenge. Otherwise, you will be submerged, washed off, and you will think that Kama Tanna is something, but Bhava Tanna is impossible to penetrate. If you are a person with so much of love to your body, if you are a person with so much of love to your life, that is what you call the narcissistic approach, then you find from everywhere your life is being threatened. Your ego is being threatened. Your fabrication is being threatened. So more you to see the gap between in-breath and out-breath, more you feel threatened. Instead you feel safe to deal with concepts, deal with past, deal with future, deal with other people, deal with other places. And verily the primary object is there. It is not a continuous line, it is separate dots. In between dots, there are uncertainty. So you develop phobia. You develop nauseatic feeling to see the gap. Because throughout the life, and specifically if you are a narcissistic tendencies, you want to have a continuity. And that is the place where religion is living. If you are a religious person, you feel you wanted to have the continuity. But to see the gap and to entertain it, this as a release, this as a liberation, this is as emancipation, you must have such a radical reflection. The continuity and existence and having materiality is the suffering, and antimatter, the dark matter, may be the way out. So how that transformation takes place? Is it by your own will, or is it merely by meditation, or is it merely by book knowledge, or is it merely by rationalization? So Mark Epstein is telling, never by analyzing, but ever by putting yourself into that situation and put in practice, put into experience. So how much patient you must be to see. More you go closer and closer to the primary object, it is like it is with dot lines. Or thing disintegrate, and ultimately you can see, at least in between the out-breath and in-breath, huge gap. And in between the in-breath and out-breath, still a gap. And when you are doing rising and falling, there's a huge area, gray area. So you don't know how the mindfulness is continuous. Are you meditating or sleeping? Are you with an object or without an object? And when the scientists explain the matter exists, but only it is less than 4%, the rest, everything is a space, that was a huge step back for the physics. You see, they know whatever the materiality exists is insignificant, less than 5%. Every other space. So you see the exactly inside the in-breath and out. Within the in-breath, 1001 in-breaths. Between in-breath, the small particle, all the way, space. Between out-breath also appear like 1001 out-breaths. And when and where it happens, you feel very uncomfortable. You feel very irritated. So that mind is jump into the concepts. Mind is jump into the perception, storytelling. So don't consider this as a mistake of you. This is the human mind. So, are you to assume ego or are you to deny the ego? So, one person put it in this way, first you have to be somebody, then only you can become nobody. So, you have to first understand who am I. Make somebody firm. I am a person always irritated by sounds. The other person is irritated by thoughts. The other person is irritated by pain. So, this is who am I. So, you have to first fix it. You have to be somebody. And then look at it, repeat it, do again and again. Then you can see at times I also become irritated by pain. Majority time I am irritated by thoughts. But pains are there. Likewise, you can see the map. More you experience it, it is not consistent. You can't make a consistent theory. When it's happening, you see the somebody you prepared is made out of dots. When the dots are disintegrated, no shape, no boundary. It is like a beehive. In the rainy time like this, they get together and live in a hive. So you can draw beehive. But in the daytime, when the sun is there, they are flying. They are in the different places, so where is the hive? There is no harm to the bees. They are gone. They are not in the same place. So likewise in the meditation it says, Santati Ghana, Kicha Ghana. So this agglomeration make a configuration and feel like a center. When they are disintegrated, that cumulative effect is not there. Individual bee cannot make a hive. So more close observation, more immediate observation, what happens is, within a breath, so much a small, tiny breath. Between two dots, so much of space. So are we ready? Are we prepared for that kind of a change? So that is the way the Vipassana yogis practicing. Midst of all the thoughts, midst of all the sounds and pain, apply again and again to the breath and see the evolution of the breath, the metamorphosis of the breath, the changing nature of the breath. So it is suicidal. It is suicidal to see this very pivotal point, the very benchmark, the very pivot, reference point is changing. Is changing. So that is threatening your ego. It is threatening your egocentric thinking. So therefore it is natural for you to go to the concept and keep on. But imagine if someone is after so much of practice, so much of experience, so much of theory, so much of preparedness, go with that kind of a prepared mind, as if you are looking at a firework at night. So it bursts, spread, disappear. So likewise the breath also, spread, burst, disappear. And again another happens. So we think the same thing is happening again like. But it disappeared, this reappeared like. But when you to see it, the shape is different, the manner is different. So therefore don't worry about the lineage, just see the slide by slide. So you have to thin slice the time to see they are different plates. And we are making a continuity or story out of that. So Venerable Jnanananda, when he is explaining, he told, if you are looking at a film in the conventional film hall, and you can see there is a light in the projector, it is happening by two terminals, electric arc, and then it is going through a square, and in front of the square you have the celluloid, and then it is projected to a screen. And there are changes, light and the darkness, light and the darkness. Whenever light happens, the celluloid is projecting to the screen, and whenever the darkness happens, your mind fabricates last slide and this slide, and then you think animation. If it is not rotating 1100 per minute, animation is disturbed. So whenever rotating in the exactly way, you feel the slides are making kind of animation, but if you look at the slides, they are not animated, they are just positives. In the darkness only you fabricate the story, whether it is tragedy or comedy. So director is not the person written on the screen, but you are the director. You are the fabricator. You are the filmmaker. So you are the one ultimately be happy or sorry. This is happening out of permanent slides. And that is much dramatic if you are looking at a cartoon film. Who Pandita Sayadaw says, If the cartoon film is running at a dragging way, not in a proper harmony, you feel boring. You can see they are not animals, they are pencil marks. You can't make fabrication when it is not properly rotating at a particular speed. Your animation is gone and you hate the film hall. You hate the operator. You hate everything because your fabrication is disturbed. So Buddha is the operator, he runs the show in a slow manner, slowly, mindfully silent. Slowly, mindfully silent. So no animation. You can see the animation needs some kind of a speed. So look at the object as close as possible. You can see to make a one in-breath, so much of action. To make one out-breath, so much of episodes. The day you go prepared to see the film, more you observe how it happens, the interest of the story disappears. Our physics master told us, at that time we are school cut and go to the film hall. And then he says, while looking at the film, just look at the projector. And there you can see, thanks to the smokers, in between you can see the bee through the smokes. And their figures are not there, unless otherwise hit the screen. At the screen, animation is there. At the beam, no animation. You can see different coloration and kind of thing. But at the mouth of the projector, one square, colorful, bright. And within that, animation happens. And he showed us, within the projector, how the can is working. At a time it releases light, at a time it blocks light. At a time it is again releasing, again blocking. So during that darkness only fabrication happens, animation happens. So we are very happy, we can see everything is dramatic, eventful, animated, that you don't know more than the projector. You are the one projecting, you are the one doing animation. Exactly the same thing happens when you learn how to closely look at the object, to name it in breath. You must have so much of stories. Because that air element do not know it is doing an in-breath to your body. That air element do not know it is doing an out-breath to your body. It is just moving. You make a story out of that. So each and everything giving a completely different interpretation at the Bhavatanha level. So this is part we call the meditation work. Kamatanha is part you have to go through and then you qualify yourself as a meditator. At the concentration level you try to reach the observed object with the noting mind, come close and close and close. When they come closer, there's a huge magnetic field is happening, or electromagnetic field. You feel like completely different. More you go closer to the object, you can no more call that object by name. That is why if you look at very closely in-breath and out-breath, after a while you can't make difference between in-breath and out-breath. So first you have to be somebody, and then you can be a nobody. So when and where in-breath and out-breath is sharp and discrete and delimited, note them as sharp as possible. So immediately you can see, no more you can attribute the name in-breath to the in-breath because it becomes something else. No more you can attribute the out-breath as out-breath, it becomes something else, so much so, in-breath and out-breath appear like equal. So when that happens, you won't believe meditation, better you get up and go. You think something wrong, my mindfulness is not there, concentration is not there, that very object was there, now it is no more. Just like a beehive earlier, at the beginning it was like a pack, now bees gone, there's no hive, so you feel disappointed. You don't know, the bees have gone, they have 8 hours job, while the sun is there, they are working at flowers. So don't let the hive. Likewise, when disintegration happens, physics finished. When agglomeration happens, something. When dismantling happens, completely different thing. So can someone's mind accommodate both? Very difficult. That is what you call transformation in psychology. And that is what is called plasticity, neuroplasticity. Earlier they told it's a God creation, intelligent design, you can't change. So therefore they adopted into this permanent notion. The God is permanent, everlasting, and your soul also permanent, everlasting. So therefore, no change can happen. But when and we are to see most tiniest part of the earth, or most tiniest part of the matter, or most gross part of the galaxy, ever changing, there is no intelligent design. So therefore your early belief that there is a permanent soul, pleasurable one, auspicious one, not changing one, is ever threat at the Kama Tanha level, Bhava Tanha level. And if you go prepared, you can see the Buddha gives the assurance, within 7 years that can happen. Transformation can take place. And he says if you are intelligent enough, within 6 years, within 5 years, within 4 years, and ultimately reduced to 15 days. Within half an hour, half a month, or sometimes 7 days time, it can happen. But are we prepared? Or otherwise, just my preparedness is enough. Still not sorted out. By meditating, everyone can be a perfect soul or perfect arahant, or can see the Nibbana, or is it meant for some people? And who are the people drawn to meditation? They are completely open issues. But the simple, safe statement you can say, only a little fraction of human beings are being drawn to meditation. Out of that small fraction is be ready with this radical reflection, or prepare for their transformation of the psychology. And is it a genetical one, or is it a condition, training, can someone do? It's very difficult to answer. That's why I told you that Richard Davidson, he says, I can't imagine why people are not taking this mindfulness, being it is so cheap, being it is free of charge. Never they take it. There's no other answer. All the world is burning. Tension, frustration. They are not coming. And what is the proximate cause for someone to come into the mindfulness practice? Very difficult to say. The Buddha says, your karmic force, the cumulative effect of the past life, and your mindset, by practicing again and again, being prepared, and the kind of food you are eating, kammaja, chittaja, uttuja, aharaja, and the climate, all four must be very, very conducive for you to have transformation in the psychology. And are we prepared? Is this your aim? And still not the Nibbana. Nibbana is far away. This is happening. So this is a kind of a personal challenge. Of course, it's a challenge to the society at large. But when and when such a thing happen, I found 3 things are little come in refuge. One thing is you must have faith. You must understand you are on the correct path. And therefore, the faith is very important, specifically at the Bhava Tanha level. When the ego is about to dissolve, you must have faith. Second thing is you must be utterly mindful, not mere here and there mindfulness. Persistent mindfulness. It is called Satipatthana, fully established mindfulness without break. That is called Vepulla Sati. The Sati must be Vepulla. You must be very mastery on the mindfulness. And the other one is precepts. If you do not have precepts, you will think that my progress is not there because my precepts are broken, my morality is bad, or my mindfulness is not there. So much of attribution, your mind is making stories, find excuses one after the other. So cut off them. Go prepared with faith and be ready for this kind of a thing. Maintain mindfulness. Don't stop it as much as possible. And make sure your precepts are intact. So when it is happening, you find something happening. It is the kind of evolution stopped much, much earlier, now going to take place with the help of mindfulness. And mindfulness gradually making the other qualities, the energy aspect of it, concentration aspect of it, wisdom aspect of it, while running, they are happening. So therefore, it says mindfulness is the precursor, mindfulness is the cursor. If you keep on practice, analysis is happening, no problem, but it is not helpful much. Repetitive application, ultimately you see, more and more you look at the problem from that perspective, it is starting balance of your sitting. The starting balance of your walking meditation is the matter. That is much, very closely associated with your personality. If you go with positive thinking, more chances are there. If you are going with doubts, better than nothing, but hardly you can see, you will eat sour mango. You will never eat ripened mangoes unless otherwise go with positive thinking. So that is why in the Karaniya Sutta, it says, if you are behind your well-being, Karaniyam Attakusalena, Yantam Santam Badang Abhisamecha, towards this final goal, Sakko. Sakko is the positive thinking. So this is being called as glad gain. So I am introducing Pollyanna. If you have not read the book, please read it. She is teaching you how to find a reason to be glad under any circumstances. So if that is the outlook, you are ever happy. And you can not only cut through the Kamatanna, whenever Bhavatanna happens with multivarious, multi-masked way, when and where it happens, you can not react. Just see its cheating nature. And you will get dumb, spellbound, very difficult to teach. Very difficult by only theory. Very difficult by any kind of demonstration, unless otherwise you apply again and again and again. Therefore, the very first time you see the gap between in-breath and out-breath, and gap in the 1001 breath, in-breath in the one in-breath, this is called asevana pratyaya. You just get a face value, you get a glance. This is not a consistent one. This is a kind of a unit made out of lot of particles. So, you are observing to separate particles, that is called delimitation or discrimination. To discriminate one after the other. So when it is happening, when you are about to see this discrimination, you have to go prepared, not a solid, permanent, auspicious object, but instead that very object you find, it's an agglomeration, it can be disintegrated. So when you go there, prepared, better chances are there, right from the beginning you to see the play as it is, so it is called meditation. First you develop the relationship, know for the first time, and then you keep on practicing with that idea behind your mind, but even then it is not enough. Bahuli karoti, it must be mastered, so much of time. But at the meditation level itself, your mind is ready, even though it is not achieved the final goal, its a perspective, its direction, its view is slowly preparing. And the most important thing happening at that time is, you can see other people in the society, they are going with that preparedness. They are beyond religion. They are really going, cutting through this thing. And other religious people may outcast you. They can't understand, because the person going to see Bhavatanna as Bhavatanna cannot accept morality. You are going beyond morality. Up to that level you have to be somebody. When you are going to be prepared to be nobody, morality drops. But you are not, that does not indicate you are breaking, but only indicates is morality will not be a burden further. You are against the grain. So when that happens, again you have to come to the normal society and live, which is morality is a must. And again, when the meditation comes up to a certain level, the gravitational principle is not applying, only the quantum physics is working. So likewise, you understand amphibian kind of a life, where top meditation happens, don't analyze it, it's beyond morality, and again you can come back, and next day again you go there. It is being explained as daily develop beginner's mind. Whatever the advanced meditator you may be, but daily when you start like a somebody. And towards the meditation, nobody happens. And if you can't tolerate, come back. Go again. And you are going more towards the nobody. Nobody means no boundaries. Nobody means no labels. From the label to no label. From the boundaries to no boundary. From the language to beyond language. From the morality to the no morality. Beyond. So it is possible within this human life. And still the task is not there. Still you are not gone to Vibhavatanna. Vibhavatanna is right from the beginning you become nobody. Nihilistic. You deny everything. So there no go. So therefore, from Bhavatanna to Vibhavatanna transfer is from the desire to hate. So when these things happen, it is like a clay pot put into the kiln and burned. It's becoming completely different thing. And to make it again normal clay pot, so much of time it takes. So likewise, that your personality is undergoing that kind of a metamorphosis, And which one is the no? If the Kama Tanha is no, or Bhava Tanha is the no, or Vibhava Tanha is the no. You find there is no such a reference point. You find there is no such a pivotal points, no benchmark. So this is the only endeavorance where your object is changing. All the other places you have a fixed object and you are striving to go there. Then you call achieve. But here, the very object becomes somebody and then become nobody. So when you go there, you achieve, but nobody. So in a sarcastic way it says, once you achieved, you can't throw a party, because you are no more. So much achieved in this asana, there is no signs or no records of throwing parties, because you become nobody. So object itself is changing, so it is a kind of a very dynamic thing. But by listening to this kind of talks, by endeavorance is, you have the potential for that. You have the possibility for that. Human beings have complete possibility, but if we are uninstructed, we will be utterly, start the life is Kama Tanha, spend the life is Kama Tanha, and end the life is Kama Tanha. But if you are skillful enough, rational enough, one day, going beyond the Kama Tanha, and you can see, smell, feel, how is the Bhava Tanha. And there you can see your likings and disliking, your value system, your personality completely reshuffled. And again you come back to the Kama Tanha, and again you go to the Bhava Tanha. There are adaptability, you can find the plasticity, you can see the transformation of psychology, and you find nothing change, nothing, no harm. And so much so, in one place the Buddha says, even if you start like a male or female, after a certain level of meditation, your male-femaleness also disappears. You become human. You won't believe, it says, Sanyoga Viyoga Pariyaya Sutta. Buddha says it's such a trap. Male is always think as a male, female is always thinking male, female, and they are fighting for femaleness and the maleness. But they don't know after a certain extent, when everything has become a flux, when everything becomes a rising and passing very quickly, you can't find male element, you can't find female element. You can't find the learned element or ignorance. You can't find the rich, poor, ordained, unordained, Buddhist, non-Buddhist. That is the point where you just become. When you go to the Bhava Tanha, you can see how humans are corrupted, how they are put into their track, never look here and there. Just like a horse with two blinkers, they can't look here and there. They are going with their own track. Or it is called in a rut. To break the rut, you must understand your plasticity, or belief. So you must understand transformation of psychology, and that is what human. Animals, they can't do it. No any being on the earth have that potential, have that possibility. So being it is there, if you are not testing, you will be ever confined to the Kama Tanha. And it's a full world, nothing to worry. You can go parties and the fireworks and all kind of things are there. And Panita used to say, if you wish to have a judgment in this Kama Tanha, person living in Kama Tanha cannot judge Kama Tanha issues. They must be at the Bhava Tanha level, then maybe we can say how our issues are coming out of egotistic narration, or with this storytelling, and just camouflaged by perception. And if a person is up to the Bhava Tanha, he can understand people are run by and driven by Kama Tanha, so they are whatever they are talking is not representing. But unlucky enough, no judges with meditation. I am inviting them to come and please meditate before the judgment, but they say no time. So they are utterly bogged down in the Kama Tanha and deciding about other Kama Tanha people, what the kind of judgment. So the jurisdiction, yet another conspiracy. It is meant for the big people. It's meant for the people doing regulations and rules. They are not abiding by this thing, and it is only for the citizen Jones. And therefore, whenever you come up to a Bhava Tanha level, you can understand what world we are living in and how much they are justifying their mistakes, and that is what we call fabrication. That is what we call storytelling. That is what we call the literature. So when and where you learn the Kama Tanha and Bhava Tanha and apply yourself, you become so innocent. Please don't disturb people burdened with Kama Tanha. Why worry? Why should we give disturb? Because it is enough for them. You feel innocent, let that be. Don't try to tackle it. Don't try to poke fingers. That is what you call first do no harm. That is what the Buddha says, Sabba Papassa Karma. Don't do any kind of a distraction because people are fully burdened with Kama Tanha. But you know, if you meditate, you can shed them off like a worn out skin of a reptile. But they are so happy with already dropped skin. The reptiles, once they drop the skin, they never put again. But you can see some monks, they say they are with PhD, with MSc, because they are still with the same worn out skin, lay life attribution, they are happily using it even after becoming a monk. They are very long names. This and that all are worn out skin. But the meditator, whether male or female, ordained or non-ordained, is ready for the prasanna. And that preparedness make you rejuvenated, make you innocent, very directly under your nose. And they are storytelling impossible because they are ever cut into pieces. Concepts, yes. You can make so much stories. Ultimately, everything is a dream. Everything is a projection. So whenever you come to the present moment is itself contented, inalienable, unalloyed. But our mind is not happy. Mind is always asking this concept, that theory, this formula, all the kind of things. So our innocence goes, our present moment, the directness goes. So therefore, try your best to keep that direct as much as possible. It's very difficult, just like going to fill a bottle with very tiny hole, very tiny mouth. If you wish to fill that bottle, you can't hold it under the tap. Water will never go there. So you have to put a wick and let the water flow slowly. When it is going there, equal amount of air will be replaced. So you have to be very patient. Maybe a lot of water. The space inside will be very tiny. So you have to drop one by one or with the wick. So much so if your present moment awareness is happening, your analytical mind will not be happy. Can't comprehend. So you have to understand, never mind, this is done by Buddha. And I do it out of faith. And then once it is come up to a certain level, I can understand. Till that we must have just faith. But this faith is verifiable faith. It is not mere unrooted faith. At the beginning it appears like unrooted, unfounded, but later you find slowly your personality is changing. Your resilience is increasing. Your resistance is increasing. Not rushing to a decision. Instead of rushing to an inference, you increase the amount of observation. More observe, less decisive. Then you are ever in the feasibility study level. You see the feasibility before rushing to a decision, but the society will not be happy for that. Society is always asking quick decisions, management decisions. That's why the judges don't have time. So much of cases, so where can they go and meditate? There's so much that they are busy. But we must be happy we are not judging. In meditation it is called non-judgmental. And in meditation it is called unassuming, non-reactive, just observing. So that is what it is. Don't promote analytical mind, but to let the mind to experience under the nose what is happening. And being we have done a first step, where we have verified we can live with the object at least 2-3 cycles, 2-3 breaths, 2-3 rising and falling. That's a very good sign. We have already started. We have done the gross area. At the same thing, you have to keep on practicing by keeping the mind with longer time and come closer and closer. When you come close, the shape of the object, the manner of the object drastically change. Go prepared. At that time you can see how much you have denied, how much you have rejected, how much you have developed the phobia. So mind must reshuffle to go prepared. That preparedness is the one, proximate one, changing your personality. So I would like to sum up the talk today at that level. may these information encouragement for you to go into the same endeavorance, but more immediate, more close with the object, and to understand the three tiers of greediness, and don't consider this as your personal thing. It is the human mind, and that part and parcel of the understanding you yourself can experience. Thank you very much for listening.